The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Admiral Vorn limped toward the podium. His iridescent scales, once brilliant blue, had faded to a dull gray around the scar tissue that covered half his body. The decorated Draconid War. Hero commanded respect throughout the 17 systems of the Galactic Alliance. Thousands of representatives from across the galaxy watched. Many species had suffered losses in the recent conflict, but none as devastating as the Draconids. Their home planet, Draxus Prime, lay in ruins, its atmosphere still smoldering from orbital bombardment. Vorn's voice, low and gravelly, carried throughout the chamber. Esteemed members of the Council, I come before you to issue a warning. The chamber remained dead silent. For a Draconid admiral, especially one as decorated as Vorn, to speak of warnings rather than retribution was unprecedented. 3 solar cycles ago, I commanded the United Armada against what we believed was a primitive species from a backwater world. We designated them humans, from the planet Earth. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. The conflict had begun when human exploration ships violated what the Alliance considered sacred space around the ancient monument worlds. The humans claimed ignorance. The Alliance declared war. Intelligence indicated they had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Vorn continued. Their ships were crude, their weapons primitive. We expected the conquest of their world would require minimal resources. Vorn's claws gripped the podium tightly. We were catastrophically wrong. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing the initial battle. Alliance warships, sleek and powerful, surrounded a handful of human vessels. Boxy, utilitarian craft that appeared cobbled together from industrial parts. We outgunned them 10-1, Vorn said. Their shields were laughable. Their weapons could barely penetrate our armor. The footage showed human ships being torn apart by Draconid energy weapons. And yet, the display shifted to a later battle. Human ships, now modified with crude armor plating and retrofitted weapons, swarmed through an Alliance blockade. They adapted. Not in generations or years, but in days. More footage played. Human ships ramming into larger Alliance vessels. Improvised. Weapons punching through shields calibrated to stop energy weapons but not physical projectiles. While we adhered to our 1,000-year-old combat doctrines, they innovated hourly. By the third engagement, they had reverse-engineered components of our fallen ships. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Such rapid technological advancement was unheard of. But their technology is not why I stand before you today, Vorn said, silencing the room again. It is their nature. New footage appeared. Ground combat on Draxus Prime. Alliance soldiers in formation, disciplined and ordered, faced a chaotic human assault. The humans used terrain, improvised explosives, and unpredictable tactics. We expected them to break and flee when they took casualties. Instead, it made them fight harder, more desperately. When cornered, other species surrender. Humans become more dangerous. Vorn pointed to his scarred face. I received this during the Battle of Low Orbit when a damaged human vessel, its weapons destroyed and engines failing, deliberately collided with my command ship. Their captain... His voice faltered momentarily. Their captain locked eyes with me through the viewport before impact. Do you know what I saw in those eyes? The chamber was silent. Not fear, not resignation. I saw rage, purpose, and a promise. Vorn's assistant handed him a small device. He activated it, and a recording played. A human voice, speaking in the common trade language. You can bombard our cities, you can burn our farms, but understand this. Earth isn't our strength. Our history is our strength. We've spent thousands of years fighting ourselves, perfecting the art of war against enemies who think exactly like we do. You aren't facing a species that evolved to flee predators. You're facing the predators who evolved to catch everything else. Vorn shut off the recording. That was their General Thomas addressing our forces after they reclaimed their moon base. 3 days later, they launched the counteroffensive that resulted in our retreat from their system. The Galactic Council's Grand Arbiter rose from her seat. What are you suggesting, Admiral? That we feared humans too little? I'm suggesting, Arbiter, that we misunderstood them fundamentally. We thought them primitives who would be easily subjugated, like so many species before them. Vorn's gaze swept the chamber. Instead, we awakened something ancient and terrible. A species that evolved through constant warfare, that thrives in adversity, that becomes more united and more innovative when threatened. A species that views surrender as worse than death. He brought up a final image, the peace treaty signing. Human representatives stood stoically beside Alliance diplomats. They accepted our terms for peace, not because they were beaten, but because they chose to be merciful. We targeted their civilian populations, bombarded their cities, and they responded by offering reasonable terms when they could have demanded our unconditional surrender. Vorn's voice grew stronger. They're applying for membership in this council today. Many of you will vote against this, fearing what it means to have such a volatile species among us. He looked directly at the Arbiter. I implore you to accept their application. Not because we should fear them, though we should, but because having them as enemies is far more dangerous than having them as allies. Vorn straightened his posture, despite the obvious pain it caused him. Before this war, no species feared humans. Now I have spoken, and you understand. Humanity does not need our approval to reshape this galaxy. They will do it with or without us. The only question is whether we will benefit from their remarkable capacity for both violence and compassion, or be destroyed by it. As Admiral Vorn limped away from the podium, the chamber remained silent, the representatives of 1,000 worlds contemplating a future forever changed by the arrival of humanity on the galactic stage.